Alright guys, Tadcore here back again today. I hope you're enjoying your Tuesday so far. Today we're going to talk about the potential of a CDL 2021 bubble, which has supposedly been proposed by Activision Blizzard to the CDL 2021 teams for next season. Very interesting discussion. There's a number of different arguments on this either way, whether this should be the case, whether this shouldn't be the case, and Scump and other professional players have certainly had their say on whether they like it, whether they don't like it, and maybe some of the compromises or some of the in-betweens that we could potentially look at for the next season of the Call of Duty League. Like, if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new. As always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thanks for doing that. Helps out all the algorithms and all that good stuff. This is what esports journalist Kevin Hitt and the Esports Observer had to say yesterday. COD League officials are proposing to team owners a potential bubble system for the 2021 season in either Dallas or Las Vegas. Multiple sources have told the Esports Observer. So this is certainly a very interesting possibility, right? When we look at the other North American sports league, like the NBA, for example, that are doing very similar things. Then again, they're on a significantly greater budget than the CDL is, so it's intriguing to see how they could potentially pull this one off. This is what the article has to say. Activision Blizzard have asked owners to consider having the 2021 season played from a central location in a bubble-type environment, similar to what the NBA and other sports leagues have done this year in the midst, of course, of the pandemic. Multiple sources have told the Esports Observer. This would require all the teams to relocate for the upcoming season in order to compete. Two cities mentioned on the call were Las Vegas and Dallas. While this suggestion from Activision was not the only proposal under consideration, there were varied discussions among the owners on the possibility and probability of this particular scenario being realized. While some owners were in favor of the suggestion, others shared their concerns surrounding contract provisions potentially being in contradiction with the move, or that a move in particular to Dallas may be unfair as the Dallas Empire already has a home there, which I suppose is fair enough. The Esports Observer has learned that some player contracts with teams in the league include provisions regarding where players and staff will reside during training camp, especially the Toronto Ultra. With some contracts already signed for the upcoming season, some teams would have to revise those contracts if the move to Vegas or Dallas actually occurs. So this is just one of multiple options on the table, but as well, this option seems like an entire season-long bubble. I don't think it will happen in this format. I imagine if it does happen to some degree in a bubble, if you guys are unaware, effectively is an isolation of all the players and the staff for each team. So all the players would move out to this central location, say at Las Vegas, say at Dallas. Dallas is pretty unlikely though, given there's a Dallas team already there. So maybe, you know, some teams are kind of frustrated with the fact that Dallas don't even have to move or whatever the case may be. But all the players move to this central location, all the staff, all the team owners, all the casters or whatever. Maybe they'll do the casting from an online environment, so it won't exactly be the same thing. But everyone moves into this central location, completely isolated effectively from the outside world, so there can be no, pandemic transmission effectively. There's some issues with that. There's a lot of cost involved. There's a lot of mental toll involved as well, that we'll look at some of the issues that Scump has with this in just a second here. But there's also some issues as we look at from the team's perspective. I imagine a lot of these organizations have their own camp set up, have their own facility set up for next season, planning to play, centrally from their own facility in their own region in an online environment. So I definitely hope we get a couple of LANs at the very least next season. I doubt, to be honest, that this entire bubble will come to fruition, but maybe there's some sort of compromise that can be had between like a couple of bubbles throughout the year or something like that to satisfy the interests not only of the team owners and the league, because the league probably wants LAN so they can sell the new spots for a lot of money, proving that it can kind of work in a LAN environment. All this kind of stuff they're looking to expand next year. Probably we'll be talking about that later today, but also to satisfy the interests of the players, right? And Scump definitely has a few things to say on this one. I'll share a few of Scump's thoughts on screen right now.
A bubble? What the fuck am I gonna do about my dog, my cats? The fuck, bubble? I don't want a bubble.
Yo, Scump, are you troubled by reports that CDL might use NBA like bubble?
Yes, I am. Miss me with that. Fuck yeah. What you think I want to live in Vegas for a couple months? No.
What like?
I got a whole life here. Like,
hell no.
What am I in the NBA? Like, will I play from online, brother? I'd rather play from online, have maybe a few like bubble lands, but I mean, come on. Think I want to go live in Vegas for 3 months, like, or wherever it would be? Fuck no.
Yeah, that honestly sounds terrible.
Yeah. It sounds horrible.
I'm pretty sure people in the bubble, like, you literally, like, you're just stuck in your hotel room all day or something.
If you want land, you got a bubble. I would rather play online than go live in a bubble
Okay.
somewhere. I'd rather play everything online. Hold up. I'm texting Hector right the
Alright, let's
fuck
get it.
now. I'm saying termination.
Oh, I need to turn off specialist. Fuck.
You just end it.
Hey,
Or someone
terminate
who
my
goes
shit
crazy and pops it.
now.
So if this could potentially work, we're in for a great year, right? We've got 4v4, we've got the Trek game, we've got the developer support. If we are back to a LAN environment, which I hope we are, then obviously it's getting better and better. I doubt, however, that will be the case for the entire season. As Scump was saying, a lot of these players, like, fact of the matter is, are these players paid enough to go to a bubble for the entire season long? Then again, if you decide, if you're a player, not to do a bubble for whatever reasons, and, well, as Scump says, right, like, telling Hector to terminate his contract, like, I'm not doing this anymore, and if Scump, your biggest name and your biggest brand, is saying, well, he's against it, then it's pretty unlikely to get pushed through. Then again, if you are saying that, when online, server issues eventually do arise, then you can't have too many complaints if you're a pro player, right? Because you had the option to go and play in a bubble on LAN, and so you didn't want to for whatever reason, and now you're having these online issues. It's pretty difficult to complain about the situation that you find yourselves in. So interesting, really, that it's Activision that are proposing this to the league teams. It seems to be the league teams that are probably going to have the most issues with getting this to work. And what you'll find here, especially from the Toronto Ultra, Dominique says some of these rumors are getting a bit absurd. You get this as well from Adam Adamu. I agree with Scump. Whoever is leaking this nonsense is full of crap. And as he says, NBA and LHL can't play online with amazing new PC servers and 240Hz monitors in beautiful new performance facilities in downtown Toronto. Wait until you see our Defiant and Ultra setup for next season. So certainly they are planning to do it locally in Toronto. We've heard all the things about they don't want their players to leave Toronto and they want their players to keep staying in Toronto and living there the entire time. And well, that's clearly what they want to do. I imagine that's in their contracts, as Kevin Hitt was pointing out in that article, which makes it pretty difficult for them to potentially do a bubble environment. However, if they can get around that, I think this would be a great thing to do for at least part of the year. Like, let's just take it from the, bottom-up perspective and say, look, for the World Championships next year, let's at least make sure we can do that on LAN. Whether that means taking all the appropriate precautions, not necessarily need a bubble per se, you could potentially take the appropriate precautions, fly everyone out a couple of weeks early, get everyone tested, and then, move through that process. And who knows, by, August next year, we might be in a completely different world situation. So, maybe there's nothing to worry about. There probably still is, though, given the way it's going right now. But regardless, I think the number one focus should try and be for next season to have the World Championships on LAN. Whether that means a couple of month-long bubbles, you could have an early season bubble, kind of like in World War II in previous games we've had Stage 1, Stage 2. Maybe it's possible to do a couple of bubbles with a long mid-season break. Then again, that seems kind of unlikely. And, the problem is with, let's say, leading up to the World Championships, we have a 2-month bubble or a 1-month bubble, and let's say there's 3 tournaments played on LAN, and then the World Championship. The problem is with that, I think, for the team owners, is that the team owners want whatever their home series is, and even though the home series is probably going to be played online, or even if it's in a LAN environment, it's going to be hosted by Toronto Ultra, but it's not going to be actually in Toronto. And the problem with that is if Toronto get the opportunity to have their event on LAN, whereas a team like London or Dallas or Atlanta or whatever have their event online earlier in the season, their home series, then they're at a disadvantage, right? Because they haven't had the opportunity to do all this cool production stuff. So it kind of feels like all the home series have to be done in the same manner. They're either all going to be on LAN or they're all going to be online. And it's the same thing we talked about with the Bravo stream, right? The fact there's no Bravo stream at these events, at least early season on the LAN environment, it made much more sense in previous seasons to actually have a Bravo stream. They don't want to do that though, because it means that, teams are getting devalued by, you've got to decide which team gets on the Bravo stream, and, all these guys are paid the same amount of money. Effectively, they all want to have the same potential opportunity to host a great LAN event. So if it's not possible to do all the events on LAN, it may have to be done that all the events are online instead, with maybe a few special events throughout the season. That's how I would like it to be done. Have a home series for every team, but have a mid-season championships and end-of-season championships, or some sort of special tournaments that happen on LAN throughout the season. Whether that takes a bubble to be formed, whether that just takes some careful precautions, maybe a bubble is unnecessary and over the top. And as Scump is saying, from a professional player perspective and from a mental health perspective, being in a bubble for 7 months is probably not going to be the play long term. So maybe they do it on a shorter basis. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm very intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. One other part of this, though, of course, is the content that could come out of it. As Method says, imagine the content could be a damn reality TV show would be lit. I mean, we know what the personalities are like in the Call of Duty scene. The possibility of chucking these guys all in a house effectively, or all in the same area, and having them go at it. The entertainment value would be absolutely out of control. You could make a TV show of this stuff, like, no doubt about it. Honestly, it would be hilarious. I'd pay to watch that, like, no joke. So we'll have to see how this develops going forwards. I imagine this proposal from Activision to the CDL teams was just one of many, and it seems like the Toronto Ultra are definitely not happy to go with this kind of thing, and also Scump and, well, other professionals aren't necessarily too happy for similar reasons, but there are certainly some upsides as well. Intrigued to see how this develops going forwards. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thank you for making it this far. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps the YouTube algorithm know that you like this content, and other people like you may like this content as well, and that helps the Call of Duty community grow. We love to see that. Thank you for watching as always, and I will see you next time.
What's up, guys? Big Tony Methods here. Figured I'd stop by and, talk about the Call of Duty bubble. That's a potential possibility for the upcoming season. Obviously, big news. More importantly, you can use code METHODS in all caps in the Call of Duty store for a discount. Also, code METHODS at Drink Control and Scuff Gaming for a discount. Appreciate your time. Crimsix is fat.